You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Weekly Business Hour. Appreciate you joining us this week. My name is Rick Schissler. I'm the host of the show. I'm also a Silver Fox advisor and the founder of OneBestConsult.com. The Weekly Business Hour is where Montgomery County area businesses come together and talk about everything related to business. We cater particularly to small business owners, and I hope if you're listening, you're an owner or perhaps a manager, someone who's thinking about starting your own business, that you'll pay special attention to some of the segments we have today really are directed at you as business owners. Before we get started, though, I want to mention one thing, and it continues to be an issue. We talked about it about a month ago. In fact, we had a special guest, Mr. Hank Moore, come on and talk about supply chain issues. Now, that's a big corporate word. I get that. But, you know, some of these big corporate words, processes, ideas can, be whittled down to size, so to speak, and become important to small businesses. And I think the supply chain issue, the ability to get the supplies, the materials you need to operate your business efficiently is a critical issue right now. Because as I go around the small businesses here in Montgomery County and visit with them, I'm hearing about shortages. It may be something as minor as a special soap or something as major as a major material, important material used in something they're building or manufacturing. So very important. If you're not doing a good job in monitoring your inventory, it's time to take it up to the next level. It's time to make sure you have an inventory system and process in place that tells you exactly what you have, and then in turn you can calculate what you need to get through a certain period of time based on when the new supply will be available to you. A lot of small businesses shortcut this along with some other issues, and in this case, when deliveries have been stretched out 2, 3, 4 times as long, it becomes very important to make sure you have that. So pay attention to your supply chain issue. Yes, small business, big business, we all have supply chains. Well, this week, I think we've got a great show for you. As I mentioned, we're going to focus really down on some small business issues. And to start off, we have a wonderful guest joining us today, Chef Jacqui Francis. Jacqui's a Jamaican-born immigrant to our country a number of years ago. She opened a restaurant selling Jamaican food, has taken that experience and now offers a number of sauces and seasonings. And she recently became a recipient of the special program that HEB offers that allows her, as the winner of that annual contest, to put her products inside of HEB grocery stores. So we're going to hear a real entrepreneurial story and how she overcame some of the basic challenges that we all face when we open and operate our own business. So without any further delay, let's listen to the conversation I had a few weeks ago with Chef Jacqui. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, we have a great guest with us today, someone here in the Montgomery County area that has found just unbelievable success starting a business, building it piece by piece. And I'm so happy to have Chef Jacqui Francis join us today. Chef, good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. You have got in the food business. Not often that we get to talk to someone in that industry, except if they own a restaurant. We've had a number of restaurant folks on the show that have started some very successful restaurants, but I think this is going to be a unique conversation with a lot of interesting twists and turns based on the material you provided me and I read about. Just from the start, let's get a little bit of background for our audience. What brought you to the point to start your own business?
Well, back in 1986, I'm from Jamaica, so I started my own business then, had the opportunity to work at Jamaica House, which would be the equivalent of your White House. So I did all the catering for the Prime Minister and all the heads of states that came to Jamaica. So, and then I came to Texas, Houston in 2007, And I realized that there's nothing Jamaican here. So I decided that I had to introduce my jam tex to Texas.
So you brought what you used in the Jamaican White House, all that experience, your catering experience, and decided to go into business for yourself back in, I guess, 2007?
2013 I started,
On
but
your
then
own.
the sauce, yes.
Okay, so you've had some great experience. I think that's a wonderful way, if you will, not the pun, but set the table. You've got great experience and found a need for that experience and that opportunity. What was your main motivation, though, to become a chef? I mean, we all have probably seen the cooking shows. We've seen movies about chefs. Usually they're difficult people. They, you know, you're not that way at all, I can tell.
No,
But
I'm happy. Food makes me happy.
So what motivated you to become a chef?
My mother, there were 4 of us as girls, and she insisted that we all cook. And I just had a passion from ever since for cooking and entertaining. I just love food, love to share my food. It makes me happy.
Well, that's good. You know, we need to get you in a movie where we show that positive aspect of being a happy chef. There's a title right there, Happy Chef. Well, that's wonderful. So we've talked about it. You've used that experience. You've turned around. You opened a store. Is that correct?
I did.
Tell us about that.
Well, I decided that I opened a restaurant. It did very well, but that was not what I wanted. I wanted people to taste the food, see their reaction, got that, and then it was bingo from there. I went to a co-packer, shared my recipes, did my sauces and seasoning, and it took off since then. So it has been 4 years now since I have done that. I've won so many awards for being here that I'm grateful for. So, and this year I won HEB Quest for the best of Texas. I was the only one in Houston that won. Out of 800 applicants, only 20 persons won, and I was the only one from Houston.
Well, that's a fantastic, 4 years to start. So you started with a store or a restaurant. Was that a restaurant?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so you started, and where was that restaurant located?
The name of it was Jamaica House, and it was on Westheimer, and we really did well then.
Okay, are you still maintaining a restaurant?
No. This is the aspect that I like, doing my sauces. And so we're now in supermarkets. I'm in Ace Hardware in the Woodlands. I'm in 9 Central Markets, and I'm going into HEB shortly.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, you obviously changed, I would say, your business model. You went from a restaurant, which most folks have heard or know from experience, it's a very challenging business to be in, with the labor and all the customers, the food. It's a difficult business to be successful. Then you moved and changed your model to providing product, I guess, sauces and spices and things like that. What motivated you truly to make that kind of change?
The reaction that I was getting from the customers for the sauces, because my sauces was doing all of the making the ingredients for this. So I had like a jam and jerk burger, and the response was excellent. I had my ribs and wings and jerk chicken, and everybody wanted the sauces and the seasoning to buy. And so I recognize that that's a much easier path than staying in the restaurant.
Yes, you probably have a lot more control over what you do in your day-to-day business, I would assume.
Yes, that's so true.
Okay, so you decided to make that change. What did that, I mean, obviously the restaurant, you had to close that, but
yes,
where did you go? I mean, do you have a facility or do you outsource everything?
I outsource everything. So I go to co-packers, sign confidential agreements, share my recipe, and go from there. And so what I'm excited about is that people ask, how do I use it? How do I use it? So what I did, I wrote my book. The name of the book is Nyam Time, a modern collection of Jamaican recipes, hacks, and cultural insight. Not only do you find the recipes to use the sauces and the seasonings, but you get a tour guide of Jamaican food, because I want you to visit Jamaica. These are the areas that I want you to go and experience when you go to Jamaica. So I will tell you that I'm from Kingston. That's where the activity is. Where are the places you should go when you go to Jamaica to enjoy fine cuisine, the music, the beaches, because it's not only Montego Bay, Otrius, and Negril.
Well, see, now we've gone even to a next step is now you've gone to writing a book, or in this case, a cookbook to be precise.
Yes, yes.
That's an interesting journey, outsourcing the actual production of your product, which basically you're in the marketing side of the business. Let's talk for a moment about the HEB challenge. I mean, I've heard about it. I've seen something or heard something on the radio or television about it. Tell us about that type of challenge and why that is so important to someone who's trying to do what you're doing.
It's really, like you said, it's a challenge indeed. Every year they send out an application for persons who should apply to be the best. Now, what you have to do is to make sure that what your product is manufactured already in a co-packing environment, because you cannot do it from home. So once you have established that and you enter your contest, and you have to write as to about 900 words as to why you think that your product is the best to enter. And you have to send them samples of your product. And then it's from there, the decision is made as to how best your product is for them to use in the supermarket. And I'm grateful that I was among them. But it's not an easy challenge, because after that, there's a lot of things to learn, a lot of forms to fill out. So it's not an overnight success. It's going to take time.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, you mentioned you've got a cookbook, and really it's a how-to guide, how to enjoy Jamaica and get the most out of it, but also how to prepare foods using your sauce. Did you happen to send the HEB people a copy of your cookbook so they could follow how to use your sauces?
Yes, indeed. I had to use that opportunity.
Well, I think that's a wonderful add-on. You know, if people, there are a lot of different business competitions. Some are formal, some are informal. Products, services, like in the Woodlands, we have the best of the Woodlands, and they select people in different categories, which bring attention, hopefully positive attention to your business. And people, I always encourage my clients and people I talk to about small business to consider that type of competitive situation, because you can't buy the marketing and the advertising that you've gotten through HEB.
No,
you just couldn't buy it. You wouldn't have access to it. I wouldn't. Nobody would. But it does take hard work, and people need to hear what you're saying about that, and patience. I picked
it does. It does. It does. It's not going to be you have to creep, then you walk, then you run. It's a lot of stages, and don't give up your day job, because it's not going to happen overnight.
What is your day job?
Walking around and selling to other stores, getting into the mom and pop stores.
Right.
So I use that to yes.
You're busy with the day-to-day and marketing of your product, and
yes,
that takes a lot of effort in and of itself. So that's wonderful.
And the book is now in Barnes & Noble, and it's on Amazon. So what I'm trying to do now is to set up book signing. So I'm privileged to be a part of the John Cooper School. This year, they're going to be having their book signing event at the Marriott Hotel on December 3rd, the first Friday in December. And so I'm privileged to be there to talk about my book and sell my book and do signing. So I'm grateful for that. So these are the opportunities that come along that you have to get yourself involved in.
Right. And you make a great point. It's not just the competitions, it's all the opportunities, and they're out there. Sometimes they're hard to find. And again, I'm not meaning to be repetitive, but it takes a lot of hard work to be successful. I get that. I hear that.
And like you say, it's you have to do your research. I called you. You didn't call me. I called HEB. They didn't call me. But because I have a story, they listened.
Yeah, you have a wonderful story. And speaking of that, we're going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen, right now. We're going to go to commercial. We're going to come back and continue this conversation with Jacqui a little bit more about her entrepreneurial journey, being an entrepreneur, provide a couple maybe pearls of wisdom to folks that are out there on their own entrepreneurial journey. If you'll stay with us, we'll be right back with you. Well, I hope you enjoyed the beginning of that conversation with Chef Jacqui. As you can already tell, hopefully, she has led an amazing life in building her business and taking it up that ladder, so to speak. So we're going to continue that interview in a minute. But before we do, I want to mention we had Hank Moore on the show. I mentioned this at the beginning of this particular show. We had him on the show about a month ago. He has that new book out, and I really want to make sure people take advantage of checking that book out. The Big Picture of Business Book 4. This is the fourth in a series of books about the big picture of business. It is meant for all sizes of business. I encourage you. It's subtitled The Value You Deserve. It's got a lot of great things in it and things that I think you can learn from and implement in your business today. So we're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Chef Jacqui.
An estimated 1 in 10 births will result in a neonatal intensive care stay, also known as the NICU. Overnight, a family can find themselves and their newborn baby in a critical situation. The Mila Foundation financially and spiritually assists families in need. If you would like to volunteer or become a monthly sponsor, please visit us at www.themilafoundation.org. Again, that's www.themilafoundation.org, because every life matters.
Hey y'all, it's DJ Mike from Dance Time in Texas. Join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. as I count down the top 10 Texas Red Dirt songs that are packing the dance floors. I'll be featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour. I'm Rick Schissler. I'm your host. And we've been listening to a conversation that I had earlier with Chef Jacqui Francis, talking about her entrepreneurial journey and expanding her business, going from a restaurant into sauces and seasonings, Jamaican in this case, and how she's expanded and moved up the ladder to where she is today through distribution in retail stores, in this case H-E-B, and she's already in the process of moving up to the next level. So it's not only an exciting story, it's empowering for those of you who are in business. So we're going to continue that interview, and I hope you continue to learn as you listen to my discussion and conversation with Chef Jacqui Francis. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are just in the middle of a conversation with Chef Jacqui Francis. She's a local Montgomery County chef, and I'm glad she came to Montgomery County. She immigrated here from Jamaica, and boy, Jacqui, you brought the goods with you. Literally, you brought your cooking and all your secrets and tips, and now you've turned that over the last several years into a business. It's just kind of an amazing thing. You started it in the restaurant business, as you mentioned, back in 2007. And you decided it in that way to become an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, what has been your biggest challenge that you've had to face and overcome?
The biggest challenge, I think, is finding people to believe in you. And you have to, it's not going to take just one call. You have to keep going. And then eventually it's going to open up for you. So it's not in anything you're going to do, it's going to take time.
You developed your spices and your sauces. I'm sure you brought either recipes or ideas and then put together the recipes that you got the third party to put together for you, the co-pack people. What was your biggest challenge in putting that particular part of your business together, of developing and getting someone to produce those products for you?
I think the biggest challenge I had was to find some of the ingredients that you needed that is identified with Jamaican food. For example, the pepper, it has to be Scotch bonnet is what we call it. You have different types of peppers here. So I had to identify the right habanero pepper to give it the flavor, because everything in the sauce, when you taste my sauce, it has chunks of garlic and onions and ginger and the habanero pepper. Now, for you to get all of those things, because I'm bringing Jamaica here to Texas, you have got to identify what's right to make your product stand out as being an authentic representation of Jamaica.
Well, the sourcing of supplies and product to make your product, not an uncommon challenge in many industries, but I imagine in yours, trying to get ingredients that were readily available, perhaps in Jamaica, and finding them here, that had to be a real challenge to find what you needed in some cases.
Definitely. But you know what happened? In the end, I realized that Mexico grows so much things and they import it to here. So after that, having realized that, then I was happy that I could now source all of my ingredients to make the perfect sauce.
You know, that's amazing. You went from Jamaica to Mexico in a sense. So now you've even gone, and I mean, that's a real challenge, and my hat off to you for being able to successfully develop that product along those lines. One of the things I always like to, or I'm very curious when I visit with someone who is a small business entrepreneur, the role of family, because all of us who have a family, whether it be a spouse, children, aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever, they're involved in the business, whether they work there, because we make decisions in our business of taking risk and doing this, doing that, that ultimately might have an impact on the lives of those that are most close to us in our family. What role does your family play in your business?
Well, my husband, he is very supportive. And I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. They are who I recognize because they're now adults and they love to cook. I see the way how they hack everything. So this is why I was able to write my book based on their information and how they say, Mommy, things are not done the long way again. People don't have time for that. You need to cut back. You need to do this. You need to do that. And so that's reflective in my book.
So they're basically your
guinea pig.
Uncompensated, or I'm sure they're compensated in many ways. They're your advisors. That's
they are.
And I would assume in a nice way, your critics as well.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, I mean, how important is it to have? I mean, I've dealt with advisory boards, you know, where a business will have an advisory board. You obviously, particularly with your children, and I'm sure your husband chips in too, with advice and about the ingredients and the products that you're developing. So that's wonderful. Plus, they have an interest in cooking. I picked up on that. It's not just like they like it or don't like it because the way it tastes. They know a little bit about what you're trying to do. So that's got to be a win-win for you.
Right. Yes.
As you were developing your model, you were in the restaurant business for several years. We've already talked about how challenging and difficult restaurant business can be. I mean, again, that's recognized even in the broadest sense in the small business sphere of business. So you found an alternative, or you developed an alternative where you could stay in the business. And so you extended your business basically, and leaving behind that labor intensive, difficult business. And now with the spices, brand new challenges, but probably a lot more control on your schedule and what you do. And you've put it all together. It seems like the cookbook was your latest innovation to extend the business a little further, because I assume it's standalone where someone will buy your cookbook just to learn about cooking things, but it also helps explain and sells your spices and sauces. What's the next innovation that Chef Jacqui's looking for?
I would like to, it's funny you should ask, but I think I want to be able to know to do a jerk chicken meal and ready done, because I found a co-packer for that. So that would be my next challenge, doing it so that all you have to do is just heat in the oven.
Well, you know, that business, that industry of pre-prepared meals or meals in a box with all the ingredients is really taken off in the last 5 years, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
For the reasons I think you mentioned, one of your children or your children tell you nobody has time. So your idea is to get into the ready meal business where folks
Yes,
will, I assume, go to the grocery store or somewhere. Is that the model you're looking at? Or
that's the model that I'm looking at. But in the meantime, what I tell people is if you want to have a quick Jamaican jerk chicken, go and pick up a rotisserie chicken, cut it in two, sprinkle some of my seasoning on there, sprinkle some of my, and spread my sauce on it, put it in the oven for 15 minutes, and I guarantee you that you have a ready done Jamaican jerk chicken.
well, that's amazing. I
Yes.
mean, roast chicken's a big thing in our house. Every week or two, we have in fact, we have one in the refrigerator right now that gets used to prepare different kinds of meals.
So I am going to send you some sauce so you can do that.
Well, that'd be fantastic. I think that's a great idea. Well, that's interesting. You've already started on your next innovation and extension of your business. When you were involved, which I guess you're still involved in the HEB challenge because you're still working your way into the stores and getting on the shelves. And I've had people on the show that sold products, not food products or food related products in through grocery stores and whatnot. That in of itself of getting placement and getting into the stores is a very difficult, challenging business in and of itself of being in the grocery stores. I bet you've learned a lot in that process.
I went to the university, I can tell you, because I not only did I get into HEB, but I also got into their central markets. I'm in all 9 central markets now. And it's like I went to university to learn the different SKUs and what that means and how you pack, how you market. Like last week, I was in Dallas doing tasting of the sauces and seasoning with shrimp and salmon. You know, you have to have know so much things about food before you can get there.
Yeah, it's interesting because getting in a supermarket, and especially one like HEB that's so successful, even on a national comparative basis, folks. But once you're there, if you maintain it and they have a reputation for a pretty good relationship with their vendors, then you're there. You just need to maintain it. But boy, what a hill to climb based on what some other guests said about getting their products into grocery stores, retail outlets. And you mentioned that you're in Ace Hardware there in the Woodlands. In fact, the owner of that store and another store, he's been on this program as well. He runs a very interesting business there. I mean, it's more than a hardware store, obviously, if he has your sauces and spices. It's a very, very community oriented store. So that's an interesting outlet. What else do you have planned? I mean, you've got the next innovation in the mill with the prepared meals. Anything else in your life, Chef Jacqui, or what are you trying to do as a next step?
I'm going to write a second book.
Okay.
And that book will because there's so many Jamaican families here who has children who were born here, who really loves the food, but they don't want to cook it like their parents do from scratch. So I'm going to make it very easy for them to do the things they like, but don't want to cook because it takes up so much time.
So they're going to be shortcuts on your recipes.
Hacks, yes.
Okay, have you already got a working title for it?
Well, the title of my book is Nyam, Nyam, Thyme, and Nyam time. And so Nyam in Jamaica means to eat. And so what I've done is to put and thyme is an essential ingredient that we use in making jerk. So I put the two words together to create a Jamaican play on the phrase time to eat. So it's my hope with that Nyam time will allow people to make time-saving, delicious meals. So this is book 1. So look out for book 2.
Okay. Title to be announced later.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Chef Jacqui, I can't thank you enough for taking your time today to update us on your business journey. What a wonderful, wonderful story you do have. And here at the Weekly Business Hour and Lone Star Community Radio, we wish you the very best in the next step, your next innovation, and I hope you'll stay in touch with us and stay in touch with Lone Star Community Radio, because it does try to serve the community and keep them informed on what's going on around us. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. What an honor it was to be with you today. All the best.
Thank you. If people want more information about what you're doing or where to get the book, how to get your spices, what's the best place for them to get information?
It would be Jacqui, JACQUISGOURMET.com. So it's JacquisGourmet.com, where you can buy it online. You can give me a call too, 281-744-4891, and I'd be happy to help whoever calls.
Well, folks, if you're listening to this program either live on Monday the 29th or in the future, I encourage you to pick up the phone or go to your computer and try out the products, the spices and the sauces. A great entrepreneurial story is in each and every jar, I promise you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Good.
Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with Chef Jacqui. I hope you'll follow up as well. She gave her contact information. Try out some of her product. It's readily available on the internet and also now in the HEB stores. So I encourage you to check out Chef Jacqui and see what she was talking about. Wonderful story. And I encourage you to share that story with your fellow business people because by sharing this show, you help us, but it also helps, I think, those who listen to segments like that conversation with Chef Jacqui. Again, it's an empowering story, and I hope you found it that way as well. Well, we're going to take our bottom of the hour break, and when we come back, I'm going to offer a little idea that I came across looking forward to 2022. Boy, it's been an exciting 2021, but I've entitled it 2022 and You. So please stay with us, and when we come back, we'll take a look at you in 2022.
Are you interested in learning more about preparing quick, healthy, and safe meals for your family? Would you like to spend time with others learning tips and tricks, along with practicing and tasting nutritious food? If so, the On the Road to Healthy Living Mobile Cooking School is for you. Call Amy Ressler at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at 936-539-7825 to find a class near you or volunteer to host a class.
What is homelessness? Have you seen how parents struggle to find a job when they have neither transportation or childcare? What about the children sleeping in cars with nothing to eat? Families shouldn't have to struggle to survive, and children should not be homeless. Family Promise of Montgomery County serves the needs of homeless families and their children. Learn about partnership opportunities and how you can help at www.familypromiseofmc.org or call 936-441-8778.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As I promised before the break, we're going to talk about 2022 and you in just a moment, but I want to give you a reminder. You're listening to the show, you see something or hear something that's of interest, you got a comment about the show, you've got a question about your business. We do a mailbag segment from time to time where your questions that come in through the email, I answer them on the show itself. So please reach out to us via email. Email address real simple. It's Rick, R-I-C-K, at irlonestar.com. That's Rick at irlonestar.com. Please send me your emails with your comments. I love to receive them. I love the feedback, and I do answer each and every one of them. Well, as promised, you in 2022. Well, at this point, most of the folks that I personally know or those I've met recently that own small businesses, they're kind of out of breath, I guess is a good way to say it. It's been a challenging year. 2022 is coming up fast, but 2020 and 2021, real challenging years. Even if you had business, you had revenue, many businesses didn't. They lost half or more of their sales with the COVID epidemic. But now we've got to get ready for 2022. If we're going to stay in business, then we need to be prepared. And I came across several articles in my reading this past week that address some of the thoughts, considerations, some of the trends, some of the things these people, the authors of these articles feel that we're going to see, and most importantly, the opportunities. And I want to share them with you here just in a few minutes. Well, first and foremost, and what's new? Technology, right? Technology is really a part of every business. I don't care whether you're a mom and pop and you still have an old electromechanical cash register, you still are subject to electronics, technology, and so on and so forth. I mean, credit cards, now it's technology. You have a credit card reader that's connected to the internet. I mean, it starts there. Technology is increasing. That is so obvious. And in particular industries, it's moving faster. And I think that's the most important thing we all need to keep an eye on in 2022 is the speed of adoption of technology. And again, depending on your industry, in some industries it moves faster than others, but the adoption of new technology, even in industries that are populated by very small businesses, is so quick. I mean, this technology that's available allows individuals to own and build businesses that in the past would require millions of dollars and 50, 100 or more people, maybe 1,000 people. And it's only one individual who contracts out all different parts of the business, but they run a successful business. I know some entrepreneurs like that do hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales, and it's only them that represents directly the company. Everything is contracted out. So my encouragement, be sure that you're not only aware of technology, but you keep track of its adoption in your industry, because if you fall too far behind, then you're going to be out of the game. Your competition, whether it's thousands of competitors or just a few hundred, are going to take away what business you have, because technology allows people to do that literally in the blink of an eye. So watch those adoptions. If you don't believe me, look at the payment system out there. We had PayPal not too long ago. That was it. Now Venmo. And now we have literally cryptocurrency. We've got all kinds of ways people are paying for their purchases. And if you don't accept certain things, again, depending on what industry, what you offer in your business for sale, you can get left behind. GoToMeeting. I read something the other day that company has been left behind, or a fear of being left behind. Their stock was down, I believe, 40% year over year because other companies are adding features such as virtual reality to meeting software. Very interesting. Again, don't get left behind. Don't need to be on the leading edge. If you know me, I always believe that, but you need to stay current in what you do in your business, particularly in this area. AI is another area. Artificial intelligence. Well, that doesn't apply to my business. I'm a mom and pop. I'm a small business. I got 5, 10 employees. Yes, we ship products in different places, different states, maybe overseas. AI is all around you. It's in your smartphone. When you use mapping software about to plot a delivery, it's AI in there that's making that all happen for you. And most importantly, I think out of all the things I looked at, cybersecurity, it has got to be a critical element. Be aware of it, because people, small businesses of all sizes, are getting hacked, and it can disrupt even completely ruin your business if you're not careful. AI is one of the things out there that's trying to protect, in certain products, protect your business from cyber criminals. Third, mobility of business, something for many businesses to be aware of. Businesses are mobile now. People can operate their business wherever they want. As a result of the technology that we talked about, the AI that we talked about, I can go open my business anywhere and even serve a local community. Mobility, there are over 11 million small businesses that are mobile, that don't operate necessarily in the community they serve. They are able to do this because of all this technology. So be aware of that. That's an important factor, in my opinion, for all of us. And last but not least, and really something that's out there every day, education. Education. Continuing more opportunities in education. This is important to your employees. It's important to you. Online education is growing 50 to 100% a year. Whether it's college or it's just training courses, all of this is available to you and your employees. You need to think how you want to use it in your business. At the very least, your employees can take education when they're at home, and they might leave their job for something they consider better. In my opinion, it's better to address those issues at work and show that you care, educate those who want it, and help them advance even within your company. A lot of opportunities in 2022. Got to get that one out. It's almost a tongue twister, 2022. Be aware of them. We're going to take our final break of the day, and we come back. I'm going to do my tip of the week. Interesting tip of the week this week. Is your business ready to celebrate the holidays? I kind of touch on this topic every year since we started this show almost 10 years ago. But I think it's a very important checklist that I try to go through. So please stay with us, and when we come back, we'll talk about, is your business really ready to celebrate the holidays?
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
For some family fun and a little scary too, come to Mattress Firm's Fright Fest Haunted House this Sunday night to benefit the Treehouse Center for Girls.
Bring the whole family for some spooky fun, then enjoy the family-friendly games and candy too. The Fright Fest Haunted House is one night only this Sunday from 6 to 9 p.m. at 2119 West Davis Street in Conroe.
Mattress Firm's Fright Fest Haunted House is free, though 100% of your donations will help the Treehouse Center, a wonderful local shelter for girls.
For more information, find our event on Facebook by searching Fright Fest 2019 for Treehouse Center.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour. I'm Rick Schissler. I'm your host. And as we go into the final segment of today's show, the tip of the week, we'll get to that in just a moment. But I want to encourage you that if you heard something today or you missed something, you want to go back, we release a copy of today's show. It's available out there on social media. It's available on the website for the radio station we're coming from, and that's irlonestar.com. You can pick it up at my website, onebestconsult.com. Check it out. We have a YouTube channel. We have Facebook channels, the Weekly Business Hour. And please, if you have an opportunity, share it with someone else who's interested in business, someone else who's in business. We'd like to have our followers, our regular listeners, and most importantly, we want to hear from you. So please contact us. Email is accepted and responded to, rick@irlonestar.com. Well, let's get to that tip of the week. Tip of the week, is your business really ready for the holidays? Well, we're in November and it's started. The holidays, the annual holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, other holiday celebrations, New Year's, they're in full swing. Preparation. Houses are already decorated with lights. Business windows are decorated. Cards are in the mail already. It's upon us. It used to be a month, then it went to a month and a half, 2 months, and now it's actually pushing out to 3 months. But I think it's a very important part of the time of the year. Even if your business is not seasonal, some businesses do 60, 70, 80% or more of their business in the last 3 months of the year centered around the holidays, but most businesses don't. Some businesses actually slow down because of people more focused on the holidays than what particular service or product that business is offering. So it's a mixed bag for all of us. But I think we all need to be sure that our business is ready for the holidays. And it's particularly sensitive, I think, or important, and something that's missed, I guess, is the words I'm looking for, by businesses that necessarily are not centered on selling their products and services for the holidays. So let's take a look at the list. The list doesn't really change that much, even though we've had difficulties and unusual challenges the past year or two throughout our country, throughout the world, personally in business and with our institutions. I like to first focus on my employees. Are my employees ready for the holidays? Have I done what I should be doing in my business to get them ready for the holidays? I start with the employees. Are the work schedules set up? Okay, do people know what time off do they have? Have we got all that sorted out? You know, I was in a business one time where it was based on seniority, who got to take off, who got first choice. And it works that way in a lot of businesses. But you need to get that sorted out, because otherwise you create disappointment. And I think one of the worst things you can do during the holidays is create what I call disappointment, because it just seems to hit harder this time of the year than it would during the other times of years. So make sure your schedules, your work schedules, are accurate. If you give bonuses, make sure they've been calculated properly and they're going to be awarded at the proper time. A lot of businesses do that. It seems to be something that's on the increase. If you're going to have a party, some businesses do, some businesses don't. I think it trended down. Now it's trending up a little bit as far as those that give it. But make sure your party's well organized. Obviously, if you delegate it to someone, check it though. Make sure they've organized it. A good party, properly done, can offer encouragement to people. And we need all the encouragement I think we can find these days. Secondly is our customers. Now, some people say customers over employees, and I'm fine with that, but I look at the employees. They're an asset. Gotten a lot of attention this year with people quitting jobs, and it's hard to find people to work. So that asset is something I can't really begin to operate a business without having the right employees. But customers obviously are right up there, if nothing else, neck and neck. Make sure that your customers' order processing is understood by the customers. In other words, if they order by this date, make sure the website says that clearly. Then they're going to get the product, right? Or you're scheduling for delivering services to your customers, whether they be business or consumers. Make sure that's being communicated clearly, especially this time of year, because again, tensions are up. Everybody's running around hectically. This year, there seems to be shortages of certain things that people buy to celebrate. So we're going to get caught up in that. Again, that idea of disruption, of disappointment. Got to really do our best to stay away from it. So make sure that you communicate when you're open, what days and hours, when you're going to be closed. It can get confusing to people, and you don't want them to show up at your business and be disappointed that you're not open, that they're there to pick up that special gift or have a service performed, and they need it done now because they waited till the last minute. What's new? But it's up to you to make sure you communicate. If you have special opportunities like discounts and things, do your very best, maybe a little extra this time of year, to communicate those to customers, whether it's a mailing, an emailing, texting, whatever form of advertising, marketing communications you do. Beef it up a little, put a little extra money on it. Make sure those special opportunities are out there. If nothing else, you're competing with lots of special opportunities this time of year. And again, the focus is on Christmas and the holidays, Thanksgiving, travel for those holidays. So you're going to have to fight to get your message read and understood, more so than typically the rest of the part of the year. So I encourage people, spend a little more time, spend a little more money, and make sure your message gets out there, particularly if you're trying to save people money or give them a faster delivery. Whatever your message is, make sure it gets communicated. More difficult this time of year. Also ask people, not necessarily directly, but Ask yourself to begin with, what can we do to better serve these people? Now, that sounds a little crazy because everybody's so busy and trying to get, I get that. I'm not telling you to stop the presses, but make sure you keep in mind, because you're going to see people at their best and at their worst, in my opinion, on average this time of year. It's a good time to have that question out there. What can we do better to serve our customers? It's a great time to collect the data, the information, the feedback that you need. And there are ways to do that are not intrusive, and they're not going to stop the operation, the process, the buying, the selling, whatever. So be sure to keep your eyes and ears, your company, your employees, open to what could be done better, so you can not only make corrections on the fly, but perhaps correct a process, a procedure that is ongoing into the future. Vendors, an area, again, it gets overlooked. We buy things from vendors, and many of us in small business don't realize that we need to have a good relationship with these vendors. We need to build a relationship with these vendors. And you've got to take time to do that, like any relationship. Some of the things that I think is important, give them feedback. It's the time of year to review how they've done this year. Give them some honest, frank, always constructive feedback. Say thanks for what they've done. They're an important part of your business, an important part of your success. So make sure you say thanks for it. Check all your inventory and orders. Get them to help you do that, to make sure you have enough on the shelves, enough in your trucks, your service vehicles. Make sure you're prepared to do business through the holidays. And also be sure you understand and have a record somewhere of their operation schedules. When are they going to be open? When can they shift? When can they come and serve you? So that when you need something, you're in a pinch, something happens, you need service, you know exactly where they are, you know what phone number to call. Don't even have to think about it. That way you can keep that tension down, particularly in an emergency. And last but not least, you and your family. Many times small business owners, and I've been guilty of this, overlook the family and the importance of preparing for the holidays. Be sure you set aside time for your family. Make that time off limits. Step away from the business. Hopefully they don't need you, that you've trained and have people that can cover for you and take care of any issues that may arise that are emergencies or otherwise. Share your business success with your families. Make sure that you tell your family, hey, we had a good year. It was a challenging year. It was a great success. Whatever it is, it's a time of the year to be able to share the success of your business, what's going on at your business with your family if they're not involved on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. Share it during the holidays with them. And last but not least, count your blessings. If you're a small business owner, you're in a great place. You may be struggling today, but the key is you went into business, and one of the reasons that, in fact, the most popular or major reason is you want to be your own boss. You want to control your destiny, and you still have that control. I want to thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Happy holidays to everybody. And don't forget, new studio opening soon at Lone Star Community Radio. So stay in touch with us. And as always, as you go into the coming week, focus on what's important in your business.